now continue with our Dateline special, The Plain Truth. Here again is Stone Phillips.
There is nothing more frustrating than standing at a luggage carousel, watching it circle, then slowly grind to a halt, and your bags aren't there. So a year ago, the airlines made yet another pledge, promising to try to return missing luggage within 24 hours. The clock's running. Here's Edie Magnus.
We picked a random Thursday afternoon in October. We came to Newark Airport in the early afternoon, the least busy time. Almost immediately, we found passengers standing dazed and confused around the luggage. Brad and Nancy Barnes have flown from Texas for a once-a-year carefree getaway weekend in New York City.
Try to get away from the kids and just have some fun.
The Barnes flight into New York's LaGuardia Airport was canceled, so American Airlines flew them into Newark instead. They arrived. Their bags did not.
I had all of our outfits packed, everything we were going to wear. Nothing, no clothes.
Over at Continental's luggage area, Carl and Anna Gustafson are feeling equally put out. They've flown nonstop from Los Angeles for a 2-week trip along the East Coast.
We checked 4 bags. 3 made it and 1 didn't. It's a garment bag with our dress clothes, dress shoes, overcoats, etc.
Ron Catich has also arrived on Continental nonstop from Phoenix. He's in town on business to meet new clients.
I have 1 bag, still waiting for my other bag. I have all my suits, clothes, everything else in there.
We follow Ron with our hidden cameras and get the first clue as to why passengers get peeved over lost luggage. He goes over to Continental's baggage claim office,
You don't know what you're doing.
where he waits and waits and waits for 30 minutes in line just to speak to an agent. And then he can only watch as the agent types and types and types for another 20 minutes into a computer. Until finally he hands Ron a claim form with an 800 number.
So when you think it's going to be at 7 o'clock, you're guessing that. I can't have a guess. It wasn't a good experience. I would say the customer service was lousy.
And how do Brad and Nancy fare over at American Airlines Lost Luggage Office?
We were playing there for 20, 30 minutes, and they gave us this piece of paper.
Much the same way.
And a 1-800 number. It's sort of a wish and a prayer.
The 800 number, the mythical place where they trace your bags and can tell you where they are and when they're coming your way. All of the passengers we found were reassured someone at those 800 numbers would have an answer, that the airlines were on the case and would almost certainly live up to their pledge to find and return the lost luggage within the next 24 hours. And while no one is offered money to buy essential personal items that he or she might need right away,
My glasses, my contact stuff, everything.
that's what's there to worry about, right? 8 o'clock later that night in New York City, 6 hours into their romantic getaway weekend, Brad and Nancy have been spending their time with their lips pressed to the phone, calling once every hour or so to American's 800 number, even though American has promised it will, quote, attempt to contact customers who've provided phone numbers.
The people that answered didn't know where the luggage was. They didn't know who we were, and the number that they told us to give them did not.
Brad's been forced to buy clothes. All he'd worn on the plane were shorts and a T-shirt. So he and Nancy can keep a long-planned dinner reservation on this, their first big night away from the kids. He's purchased some other personal items, too. Will American reimburse him? He says they've said no repeatedly. Brad and Nancy are clearly having a streak of bad luck. This restaurant where they planned to dine was shut down. There'd been a fire.
We are the out-of-towners. This is a nightmare.
For businessman Ron Catich, the nightmare extends into the next morning. He's in suburban New Jersey, and now 20 hours into his working weekend, has heard nothing from Continental, despite its pledge that someone from its state-of-the-art baggage resolution center will contact him. Instead, Ron's on his 5th phone call to the Continental 800 number.
085008.
As at the airport, he's forced to wait for nothing.
Thank you.
So he heads off to meet those new clients in his jeans and a borrowed shirt. As for Carl and Anna Gustafson, last night Continental's 800 number agent seemed quite optimistic.
She also used the expression there's a 99% chance that it would be here in the morning.
But the next morning, Carl is stunned to learn there's a 100% chance that his luggage is somewhere else.
And they told me that, yes, the bags had been located. They were in Lisbon, Portugal.
Portugal? What? Somehow the unattended bag breached security and made it all the way to Lisbon. To make matters worse, Continental can't get it back to Carl for 4 days, when they'll be in Maine.
It is a significant hassle.
So they must shop. Carl's got several parties and no clothes.
Actually, I like this.
And replacing them will mean a big bill. How much of it will Continental cover? After he nags them repeatedly, Carl says he's been told they'll kick in $75. 20 miles away, a now furious Ron Katich is finally replacing his wardrobe too.
It's been about 30 hours since I lost my luggage, and basically I have no updates. Just nothing.
Interestingly, Ron has been so insistent with Continental, he's been authorized to spend $250, more than 3 times the maximum Carl was told he'd receive. They have to reimburse you when bags are delayed, but many promise to do so anyway. How much can you get? Often it's arbitrary. The best nagger wins. So now Ron can get some pants and shirts. But there's not time to tailor the jacket he'll need the next night for an evening out on the town, a Broadway show, and dinner at New York's pricey Windows on the World. So Ron is forced to borrow a jacket from the maitre d'.
Didn't fit me. Had stains and everything else on it, so, you know, it was an inconvenience.
The next morning, he's headed home. 4 days have gone by. No sign of his luggage, no calls from Continental. Ron says he's now called their 800 number around 22 times.
I asked him, did it get on the plane? We can't tell you that. We don't know. Did it come to New York? Did it go someplace else? We don't know that. They had no explanation where it was at whatsoever.
That doesn't surprise Alexander Anilik, an attorney who has sued airlines and arbitrated disputes between companies and passengers. Anilik says there's a reason they can't get any answers from the folks at those 800 numbers. He says the expectation that our bags are actually tracked all along their journeys, like, say, a FedEx package is tracked, is a myth.
They haven't done it yet because it's not enough pressure to have them do it.
Those long tags that they put on your bags, they have barcodes, but computers aren't actually tracking the progress from point A to point B?
It only has your name and the city that the bag is supposed to go to. And it's for taking your bag from the counter, putting it down the first conveyor belt. It's capable of doing much more, but the airlines aren't utilizing it. It costs money, and that's not what's being done.
Some airlines are starting to test out more sophisticated bag tracking technology, which could let them know where any bag is at any given time. Still, many passengers feel that's too little, too late.
Does it surprise you that the airlines are 1 year into a new pledge to deliver better customer service?
Yes. That does surprise me.
We sat down with our passengers several weeks after their trips. Ron Katich did get his bag back, not within the pledged 24 hours, but after he got back home. Carl and Anna got theirs 6 days into their trip in Bar Harbor, Maine. And after Dateline made inquiries, Continental actually coughed up $500 for Carl's clothes. And Brad and Nancy, American did get their bag back within 1 day, in the middle of the first night of their trip, the night those romantic dinner plans went up in smoke. Still, they were frustrated by the experience.
they did not know what they were doing. And I would think that they would have employees in place who had been trained and were qualified to handle, unhappy passengers.
All complained that from the get-go they were made to feel it's your problem, beginning with being told they should just hang out to see if their bags would arrive later.
They refused us the forms to fill out for lost baggage, saying that the policy was that we had to watch all the carousels for how long, I don't know.
When they told me it was in Lisbon, I said, well, somebody needs to do something here. And her response was, well, we don't have to do anything.
Both Continental and American told us they regretted the inconvenience to their customers, and both noted they had a good record in handling baggage. But what happens if the airlines lose your bag permanently? In a moment, we'll tell you what you can do if that happens to you.